Doing good, man. Doing good. Getting back to it. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good,
Hey
man.
man,
How y'all doing?
it's a cold,
A
cold
little
night.
better.
Too cold. Brrr.
Yeah. But we came back again, man, because like I said, we came back. The Bulls been off for the past couple of days or whatever, which a well needed rest after on an 8 game winning streak. They needed this rest to recuperate for people with the COVID and injuries and so forth. But they back at it again tomorrow against Washington, a rematch from Washington from the buzzer beater. So before we get into it, well, let's get into it. The Bulls got an 8 game winning streak right now. Who you guys giving the credit to?
Go ahead, Tim.
Um, I'm gonna go with the coaching staff on this one. Not only the assistant coach, but Maurice Cheeks and all them. And why Donovan's been down. These guys have stepped up and got these guys to play. You know what I mean? To keep it going, even though again we saw a couple of games where the Bulls looked out of it and they looked like losses, but these guys just kept with them and were calling the right timeouts and speaking the right words to these guys to keep them motivated and to say, hey, we're not done yet. We can finish this and we can win this. And I credit them and I credit the guys that have stepped in for the guys that have been out with protocol, and to keep this going with an 8 game winning streak is something we haven't seen in a long time. So I'm giving the credit to the coaching staff and some of the guys that have stepped in the absence of others.
Gotcha. I think that's one of the keys I was going to reflect on is the coaching staff. But go ahead, Marcus. Who you got?
It's organizational. I mean, from management to the coaches to the captains of the team to the rookies, everybody is bought in. Everybody is. It's not one person, even though each player have their things that they do that they specialize in or what they're good at. But collectively, it's a total sum effort what these guys are doing, man. And like I said, the Bulls were the first team hit by protocol and COVID. All these games been out, and they actually lost 2 games. The Bulls had to actually go to the NBA and like, hey, look, something has to be done. We have to push these games back. But they had lost 2 games before the NBA actually implemented, rescheduling these games. But the Bulls were resilient enough to hang in there, and they started getting guys back. And lo and behold, they're the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. So I say it's an organizational effort of being patient, resilience, and showing moxie and just showing patience, man. I mean, even when Billy Ray, I'm thinking about trading places. 48 hours. No, it was 48 hours.
Billy Ray. That was Trade Places.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. Billy Ray, Eddie Murphy. but I mean, even Billy Donovan, he was out for 5 games. And Fleming stepped in and won 5 games. Everybody is playing. I can't recall when things went so right. You'd have to go back to 98 because even when the Derrick Rose Bulls won 62 games, it was like, okay, but we still got Keith Bogans. We still got Keith. It didn't matter what we did. We still got Keith Bogans. And Paxson never fixed that issue. So right now it's like, okay, I'm so confident that we're going to fix the Power 4 issue, but everything is just going right. I think it's an organizational win.
Yeah, I was like I was telling Tim on the pre-show, that I think Chris Fleming did a phenomenal job to still keep that winning streak going. Because when Billy Donovan left, it was a 3-game winning streak, and with all that didn't happen with the players get injured, the COVID protocol they had to sit out, was still able to maintain the winning streak with the guys that they had, even guys that who was that? Was it Alfonso McKinney. I mean, just adding people to the mix, and they fit in perfect. They didn't cause us to lose a game or anything like that. So it's like you guys said, it was a collective organization thing. And talking about Chris Fleming's, I mean, do you think I mean, we don't want to. I don't want to go too far, too fast with this, but I hate to see him go. But he just proved in that 5-game winning streak that he's actually a coach, a player's coach, and a coach. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We had a chance to, he had a chance to take over the Bulls, but they saw the big fish, so they went for it. You know what I'm saying? So, do you guys think that he'll be the top of the line of head coaches that get picked up?
It's a good possibility. It also depends on, I believe, where the Bulls finish this year. I think a lot of teams, if they're looking for new coaches, are going to be looking for a coach that's well developed. You know what I mean? Like, just because of one season and you took over for 5 games, it may ring some bells to the less fortunate teams. Like the Detroit Pistons or the Houston Rockets, or that it may be looking for something fresh and new. But I think if the Bulls finish high this year and make a deep playoff run and a championship run, I think his name will come up in teams looking at him for going 5-0 while Donovan was out and controlling this team. But hard to say right now. You know what I mean? Like, I would believe he would be up there, but a lot of there's probably a couple of the guys that are ahead of him that people are probably looking at to say, okay, well, he's established. We know what he can do.
Take over. Yeah. And I mentioned this to you, Mark, is that I mentioned to you that I think he'll be top of the line because, like I said, what he's done, and he has the respect because he was coaching with Brooklyn, and we had them. That's when they was really balling, when he was still with Brooklyn, and he made big guys play damn good. So, what are your thoughts on Chris Fleming?
I am absolutely certain that he is Buddy Ryan. He is out of here. He is, and if you a Bears fan, you know that analogy.
Yeah.
The 46 defense. I mean, there's no way Buddy Ryan was going to be our head coach the following year. The hottest commodity in all of sports, right? Even though this is to a lesser degree, but 5 games in a row is 5 games in a row. Everybody is looking for the next diamond in the rough, that next Brad Stevens, that next Steve Nash. Said, do you remember a couple of years ago when I just threw Steve Nash's name out there and I got fried? I got killed. Yeah. Ha. He never coached. Learn the game. You don't know anything about basketball. Lo and behold, just like a month later, he was hired because people was like he had never coached. He had never coached on any level.
Right.
Fleming has coaching experience, like you said, and he's been around terrific players. He's been around Kevin Durant. He's been around Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and now he's in a great Bull system. And I actually did not know that he was the head assistant. I thought it was Cheeks because Cheeks had been a head coach already. But yeah, I think he's going to get some looks, if not hired. I mean, the Sacramentos of the world, or Toronto maybe, or one of these teams that whose coach is on a hot seat. I think he'll be a top candidate.
And my thing is with those teams, are you as a coach? If you was the coach, and I'm saying this because we Bulls fans, we Chicago fans, but would you just go into any situation and just to have it be just to be a head coach, or will you find that right situation? You know what I'm saying? Because some like for instance, Buddy Ryan, when he went to Philadelphia, when he left the Chicago Bears and went to Philadelphia, it wasn't the same. The defense was the same, but he didn't have a good winning streak as a head coach. So do you wait for that? Do you go for the teams like who's the up and coming team? You just said like Toronto. Do you want to go there or whatever?
It's different with football. Football is really schematic. The 46 defense was never going to be like it was with it. I don't care what personnel they had because everybody knows that the NFL is a copycat league. We're going to do what you're doing, or we're going to know how to play that defense. So it was a little different. Buddy Ryan probably could have went anywhere and would not have found the success the Bears had. Now the Bears had a great season that following year because they still had the personnel and it was still teams were still catching up. But with Fleming, I would say it just depends on what city. I mean, it depends, man. If he's not, I don't think he's going to go anywhere where he's set up to lose. Where I'm only going to be here 2 or 3 years. It has to be. The situation has to be a little bit more tailored, right? Like, say, an Oklahoma City, who's actually played well to be that bad. They surprised people, or maybe even New Orleans, something like that. Teams that have the talent with Zion. That's once he gets back, teams that have talent where he can say, okay, I can implement what I've done in Chicago and I can take it there and we won't be that far off. So I think it's circumstantial, and then it depends on what his family or where his family is, or children, grandchildren, things like that. So it's things that we'll never know that goes into coach decision making.
Right.
But I would say it has to be a little bit more tailored. I wouldn't just take any job.
Right. You stick the same way, Tim?
Oh yeah, like you can't just like, only way I could see you taking the right job is if they're coming over to you and they're saying, hey, listen, we're the Houston Rockets and we know we suck and we're going to suck for the next couple of years, but we're going to offer you a 6-year, $90 million contract to coach us. Then you might look at them and be like, oh, hell, 6 years, $90 million, I'm set for the rest of my life. But I agree with what Marcus had to say. It has to tailor, a team with young rising talent that he can implement what he's done here to them, where you can push that onto that young talent and they can build off of that for years. I think another team would be Sacramento. I think Sacramento's a couple players away that could be a team that's dangerous. They're sitting right outside of that, that from 9 to 11 to barely getting into the playoffs. But again, it's one of those things is, does it favor him and where he's going on what's the young talent look like? How's his family think about it? Where's his family located right now?
Right.
So it plays a lot. And I think that he had in basketball more you want to find a team that's right there so you can be that push to get them there. I think different with the NFL is I think you want to look for a bad team in the NFL so you can implement your draft picks, what you want, who you want to go get, and to start building that team fresh because in the NFL, you're guaranteed at least 3 to 4 years in the NFL as a head coach to try to put your stamp on that team and get it to where it needs to go. The NBA, I think a lot of coaches look more for a team that's a little bit more developed so they're just a couple players or an offensive scheme or defensive scheme away from making playoff runs. And I think that's where the coaching becomes different.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I hate to see him go because I see him as a good coach for the Bulls, but we got Billy D. You know what I'm saying? Right, so, right. And I told Marcus, I said, well, maybe he'd be like Maurice Cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Just stick around. Just stick around. Stick around. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because I mean, just like what Phil Jackson had the Bulls, Tex Winter, and all those guys, they stayed together. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, they branched out, but none of them became head coach really. But was it Jim Clemens?
Yeah, Jim Clemens.
And he did the Lakers. Did he do the Lakers?
I think it was the Lakers.
Dallas,
yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And didn't have much success. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I mean, but I think Chris Clemens is one of those guys that actually could develop young talent and develop talent anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I hate to see him go, but it'd be good for him if he got that finally get that chance to coach in the NBA. Been seeing a lot of things going on with trades. I'm just gonna throw a name out. I'm just gonna throw the 2 names out that's been heavily involved in trades from people. That's Patrick Williams and Kobe White. It's an ongoing thing that people just constantly talking about both of those guys. Who we quit? I mean, who we keep, who we trade, who we keep, who we trade. I'm gonna start with you, Tim. Mm-hmm. Who would you keep or who would you trade?
Man, at this point, I hate to say it, and I don't want to say it, but I would have to say Patrick Williams. I think is going to get us the most out of anything because of him being so young and him being good, and they know when he comes back, he's going to be a force. I think Kobe White right now fits what we need because he's that guy that comes off the bench to spell Lonzo and Levine and them, and he can put up 15 points, 17 points coming off the bench because Caruso is not that guy to put up all those points. Caruso is the guy that's going to play defense and grab rebounds and make assists. So I think Patrick Williams gets us more because of how young he is and how unproven he still is. A couple of guys I'd like them to go get. Christian Wood. I think we can do, maybe a straight up trade with Christian Wood. I mean, with Patrick Williams for Christian Wood. Bring him in to be that guy, to be the big. But the one I've been hearing most now is the whole Jeremy Grant thing from Detroit, and Patrick Williams is a big part of that. But if I was to trade Kobe White, and I know it's a guy that not a lot of people have talked about, and I've heard recent rumblings about it, but if you were to trade Kobe White, I would go get Cam Reddish from Atlanta.
But do you need a 3? Because he's a 3.
I think you do coming off the bench. I think you need another wing coming off the bench for the simple fact of you already know you got Levine and DeRozan. So when one of those guys go out, and I'm not saying, Derek Jones, I think is more of a 4, and he can guard the bigger guys. I think we need that stretch 3 coming off the bench. Because Cam Reddish can shoot the ball, he can dribble, he's tall. And I think it gives us a guy when DeRozan goes out and Levine's in, and vice versa. When Levine's out and DeRozan's in, it gives you another guy that's capable of dropping 10 to 15. That's if Kobe White, if you're giving up Kobe White, that's the type of guy I'm going for. I think he's a bigger wing that can help us, but I think Patrick Williams would probably bring us a lot more.
Who you got, Mark? Is it Patrick Williams or Kobe White?
Yeah, shout out to Rashad. He said, "What's up?" I'm going to go the other way on this one, Tim. I personally think Kobe brings back the most value because of his stock rising within the last week, and GMs, scouts, they know that Kobe has had the slow start, and we've said this like the last 2 or 3 shows. He did not have training camp. He did not have a preseason. He had the shoulder, and then he had COVID, and then he's getting acclimated to play with playing with new players. So all that is different. So they know what Kobe can be. Can you imagine Kobe White being paired with Zion Williamson? If New Orleans had something that we want, just a talent like that being paired with somebody that's good. Having said that, I'm not trading Patrick Williams. I don't think that he's still a project. I mean, if you imagine, I just talked about pairing stars. Imagine Patrick Williams, and he could be Kawhi Leonard, but imagine him being traded to Detroit and paired with Cade Cunningham in our division. That's just something a GM has to have foresight on and not do. If you're going to trade Patrick Williams, it absolutely has to be for a haul like Domantas Sabonis. It has to be. Right now, it's not about Sabonis scoring. It's not about Grant scoring. It's not about anybody scoring. It's about getting a wide butt in there, clogging up the lane, and throwing somebody at Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what we need. We got the Jones Juniors and the Cooks of the world. We got athleticism. We got that. We got people to defend on the perimeter. We got Caruso. We got Ball. There's no name you can throw out there that's going to stop Durant anyway. But at least we have perimeter defending. What we need is another big body. Vucevic, and I love Vucevic, but he's slow-footed. He was killed in that Indiana game. He was killed every time he plays Embiid. We need another guy down there. And I'm telling you this, if we trade Kobe, and I like to see him stay, that if we do a deal on the high end, if we get a guy like Miles Turner or Sabonis, in my opinion, there's no starting 5 collectively, a starting 5 that's better than the Bulls. I'm not saying that we're better in every position. I'm talking about a collective starting 5 that is better than your Chicago Bulls if we get a Sabonis. But if we don't get a trade like that, we don't bring in a Sabonis, then it has to be on the lower end, a guy like Taj Gibson, if that weirdo Tibbs is willing to part with him. It has to be a guy like Tristan Thompson, somebody like that, and the reason for that is then we get to keep Pat Williams, and we get to keep Kobe White. I mean, it's a Band-Aid, but that's the idea, to win now. We have a window to win now. DeRozan is here for another 2 years after this year. But if you want to win now and you don't want to give up Kobe and them, go out there Taj Gibson. You know.
I think he got like I think DeRozan got like I think he's had a 3 or 4 year contract.
3 year. 3 year 85 or 3 year 80. One of those. And I'm pretty sure it's 3 years.
Yeah, and here's my take. I mean, if I had to choose between the two, I wouldn't like to choose between the two. I just see, I mean, we saying that, I mean, Tim, you said that Patrick Williams, his age, he's 20. Yeah, he's 20, but Kobe White is 21. So he's fairly young too. You know what I'm saying? It may seem like he's been in the league like 3 years, whatever that he's like 24, but he's only 21, you know what I'm saying? And Patrick Williams is 20. So I prefer not to trade either, but if I had to trade one of the two, I don't want to do that. I'm not about to do it. I'm not about to do it because I like both.
You got to answer the question. You got to answer your own question because we're going to ask another unrelated sports question that's just the same when this show winds down. And you didn't want to answer then, so you're going to have to answer, buddy.
If I had to pick, I will keep Patrick Williams because we don't have that. We don't have a Patrick Williams on the team. You know what I'm saying? A power forward. We could have a Kobe White and the sumo. You know what I'm saying? We could have that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and you could always find a Patrick. I mean, a Kobe White, but you cannot really find too many Patrick Williams. You know what I'm saying? They don't come like that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what you're answering your own question. And basically, we can negate everything we just said and say Kobe is the most expendable because we got Ayo, we got Ball, and we have Caruso. That's 4 point guards. That actually makes Kobe the most expendable, and I believe we'll get the most haul back for him because of the way he's playing right now.
I agree with it, but I think more now in the NBA is more what you're seeing on a nightly basis is a lot of teams starting to play small ball. And it's, like you look at Golden State, they really don't play with a big, you know what I mean? Like they're putting, what's his name, Green at the 5 position because, they still don't have their big guy back. But again, you're not a lot of teams are doing that, like because they have the luxury of throwing another guard out there that could score. And I think the reason why you would keep Kobe White is what you're seeing more is he's a guy that can step in and drop 15 to 20 and have a good shooting night. And you kind of want that coming off your bench. So if you do go small, because I agree, we're loaded at guard, but Ayo hasn't proven yet that he can drop 15 to 20 like Kobe White on a nightly basis. Dosunmu plays better defense, hell yeah, than Kobe White. And I think that they're kind of switching that off and they're tinkering with it because you're getting Kobe White who can play some sort. He's been playing a little bit better defense, but he's giving you 17 to 20. Ayo comes in and he's locking down the Trae Youngs and the Bradley Beals, and he's causing them to have hard shooting nights, but he's only giving you 5 to 6 points. I think Ayo eventually will be that guy, once he gets more, adequate with the offense and he starts showing them that, hey, I can score like this. But I think that, a lot more teams are going to look to – I agree that, they might go with Kobe White. A lot of teams are going to look at Kobe White because the league is starting to go a lot more small ball. And I think that Patrick Williams, I still think, though, a team is going to be looking for that stretch type 4 and that, he can go out there and score and grab rebounds and play a big body role. But it's going to be hard to say in these next couple of weeks. He could guard 1 through 5. You know what I'm saying? That's rare. That's rare. So I mean, and that's the reason I will keep Patrick Williams because he could do that. Right. I think the rookie. I don't think he want to step on no toes, so he kind of fiddling his way in. You know what I'm saying? So I think next year, he's going to be the business. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I agree with you guys. Kobe might be the most expendable because we have so many guards. But
now let's talk about not because I really don't want to get ready any of them, but I will keep my question. I will keep Patrick Williams. I will give away Kobe White, but all the trades that's going out, you know what I'm saying, with the Harrison Barnes and Jeremy Grant, I will not do anything of that nature, and that's because we haven't really seen Patrick Williams play with this squad right here, but a couple of games. And I think that play that he got hurt on, it was the play I think he was about to come out of his shell, because that if he'd have landed that dunk, that would have did it. To me, that would have did it. Mm-hmm. So, and what Jeremy Grant is and Harrison Barnes is what we hope Patrick Williams will be and better.
But so, even in the meantime, and he's out right now, Patrick Williams is in the equation for me. I'm talking about guys like Cook. I think Cook can give us what we need without mortgaging those two and bringing back Grant.
Yeah,
give me. Did y'all not see what we saw the other day with that dunk? And just when he showed dog when he got the dunk and he was like, ah. I mean that got me going.
Right.
Get that type of guy, that type of body with that type of athleticism. If he's in for the long haul and he's healthy, that's part of the answer.
At least you got him. You got him, and now you got Jordan Bell. And Jordan Bell's that same guy, and I agree with it. And I remember which one you guys said it the other day, but dude, listen, Harrison Barnes is the oldest 29-year-old in basketball. That man looks like Greg Oden.
29 when LeBron was with Cleveland.
Right, like, come on now, dude. There's no way that man is 29 years old. Because if he is, I'm gonna dial back myself to 32. Like, come on now, like, there's no way.
Right.
But out of the two, I would more take Jeremy Grant, because Jeremy Grant's proven the last couple of years that he can be that other guy to score and get you buckets and play defense. But I don't want to give up both of them either. I think I would like to see Cook step into that role. I'd like to see Bell step into that role. And I wouldn't mind them grabbing somebody that's bought out, that's getting bought out right now. It could be a DeMarcus Cousins. It could be a DeAndre Jordan. So...
Yeah, and that's my thing. And now we get into the part of the trades or the buyouts. I mean, because I prefer, and I know many you guys. It's a lot of people out here that want the Sabonis. I don't think those are options, because I just can't see Indiana partner with Sabonis.
But it was rumored that they was about to scrap it. But I'm waiting on you to mention the biggest name that became available today or yesterday.
Who's the biggest name? Oh, okay. Yeah, the buyouts. Okay, we had got I prefer the buyouts because, like I said, we don't have to mortgage off anything. You know what I'm saying? We could check and see what the players could do when they actually get here. You know what I'm saying? So because the news just came out that Patrick Williams may be back. You know what I'm saying? So now people probably look at like, well, let's see what he could do now. Let's see what we could do regardless, you know what I'm saying? Because I think with this team, he's not going to take away from what's going on. He's just going to fiddle his way in like a sumo is trying to do right now. So the name that's out there right now who just got released by the Milwaukee Bucks is DeMarcus Cousins. He's a center, but you could put him at the 4 or 5. Do you guys think the Bulls should finally take a chance on this guy? Let's go with whoever want to step up.
I think he's been too much of a journeyman to be a case. He knows that, okay, any destination could be his last, right? So with that said, and he's older now, he's aged. He was 9-6 in his Milwaukee stint in 19 minutes a game. I'll take that. I'll take that. And I think here you probably bump that to maybe 22 minutes a game. So you're looking at maybe 11-8. That's what you want. Yeah. You don't need another Vucevic. You don't need numbers like that again. You just need a guy who can help Vucevic. Vucevic is an all-star. Vucevic is younger. So that's the guy I'd say I take a chance on, primarily and mostly because he would come dirt cheap. I mean, what are you about to mortgage? What are you going to give up? I mean, you bring this guy over, and who's going to be like a sainted Boy Scout. I mean, he has to, right? I don't think he's going to be Antonio Brown. He has to come over here and be like, okay, what do you guys need? What do you want? I'm willing to do it. You know, I like the 9-6 that he's given Milwaukee. So more than DeAndre Jordan. Now, I was on the DeAndre Jordan train, but I'll take him over DeAndre Jordan.
You will?
Right now, I would. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think his numbers, his production is better. 9-6, if I'm not mistaken. I think his production is a little better. So I mean, and us not having that power forward, and I'm not talking about a swing guy, I'm talking about a power forward center, a body. That's what we need. I think he gives us a little bit more than DeAndre Jordan can do right now.
Okay, what you think, Tim? If you try to pick between the two, Rasheed said he'll take both. Ain't no wrong with that either. You know,
both of them might be the answer. Man, it's really hard to say because you know I like DeMarcus Cousins because he can give you the scoring that you lack down low. He can grab 6 to 7 rebounds, but if we're looking at it from a defensive standpoint, you got to go with DeAndre Jordan because he's going to grab more rebounds and he's going to be a rim protector, which technically we're kind of missing. I wish that somehow, some way, Daniel Theis's contract was bought out in Houston and we could pick him back up, or a Thaddeus Young. But I see why not.
Daniel Theis?
Yeah, Daniel Theis.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, if somehow, some way he became bought out, that's to be the guy I'd go after right away because you saw what he could do last year.
Yeah.
But I agree with the answer of both. I think if you got a shot to get both of them for something cheap and we're not giving up anybody, why not? You know what I mean? Like, you're bringing in two guys that one guy can get you the scoring point of it and grab you a couple rebounds, and he's a big body. And then you bring in the rim protector who's going to grab those rebounds too. And both of them aren't slow of foot like Vujacic is. They're going to get into you and they're going to body you up and they're going to play physical ball. And you already got Lonzo Ball in them, so you get to have Lob City all over again with DeAndre Jordan. So
right. And then if you give both, that means Bell and Cook have to go.
Not necessarily. You can still keep Cook or Bell, and you can stash one of them in the G League.
Cook.
But I think you can still keep those guys on the roster because I know they got that young kid that they like that they get drafted from overseas this year, but he really doesn't play. But I don't know where he fits in. When he does get out there, but that's a guy you could stash and put him on the quote unquote undressed list, IR list, or whatever it is, and you could still keep a Jordan Bell or a Cook to come off the bench because you're going to still need a power forward and a big body for those games against the Embiids and all them because those guys are physical. You know what I mean? So you want to body up because Tobias Harris is no slouch. He goes down low and he gets rebounds and buckets too. So him and Embiid feed off of each other. But then you saw what Milwaukee did. Even with what they got, and even Miami, you got to be physical and box those guys out. In New York too, it's another physical team. So I think that if you can keep both of them and keep a Jordan Bell or a Cook, I think you'd be solid. I think you find what you need on the bench. You get a rim protector, a scorer, and a guy who's going to bring high intensity energy.
Yeah, I think I like that move too because of that you take it away from what other teams probably will grab from you. Like for instance, that the DeMarcus Cousins could go to Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Just like they took
Aldridge from us.
Aldridge from us. Imagine Aldridge with us right now.
Oh my God, we'd be solid. We'd be solid.
Yeah, so we got to get those players before they actually, because I mean, right now it's about with those guys, it's about rings now. You know what I'm saying? And
Aldridge is actually threatening to be on the All-Star team. Actually,
who that?
Aldridge is actually making an All-Star push.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He's been playing well.
That's crazy. That's crazy that we was in the running to get him. And see what ended up happening is Brooklyn ended up getting both of them, Aldridge and
Millsap.
So we couldn't even do it.
Yeah. So why can't we get DeMarcus Cousins and DeAndre Jordan?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like give everybody the middle finger and say, now it's our turn. We're sick of you guys grabbing who we want. You know what I mean? But I think if Boobie's available now, why not go for it? You know what I mean? Like, go grab him and see what he can do. And then when DeAndre Jordan becomes available, go grab it. You kill two birds, one stone with what you're getting. You get two big guys who are mobile, fleet of foot, who can play defense and grab rebounds and put points on the board as backups to Vucevic. You know what I mean? Because those games and I hate to say it, but the Milwaukee's and the Philadelphias scare me because of how physical they are. We've seen the last couple of games of us getting beat down on the boards and beaten down low scoring. When we play those two teams, that's what those two teams do tremendously. You know what I mean? So I think now is the time to, again, we put our trust in AK because he knows what he's doing. But, let's get it going. You know what I mean? Like, let's get these guys. Let's get physical. Let's bang with teams now and show teams like, hey, not only do you have to worry about the Bulls shooting from outside and scoring from different levels, now you got to worry about us banging down low with you.
Right. And I think that'd be, if they was to pull that shows me that they all in. Yep. They all in,
And again, you don't get rid of Kobe White and you don't get rid of Patrick Williams. Right. You get Patrick Williams coming back. And then at that point, one of those guys may be the odd man out. I mean, it might be a Cook or a Jordan Bell at that time. But you still got the bigs where you can go say, okay, we're going to make that deep playoff run and we're going to bang. Because if you do go to the finals and let's say you play a team like Phoenix, dude, DeAndre Ayton's a fucking animal down low, bro. Like, we need someone to stop that, to basically, hey, come in and give us 10 minutes of banging him and then let Vucevic come back in and eat his ass alive. You know what I mean? So
and I think that'd be good even if they played a team like Golden State because, they only shoot threes, you know what I'm saying? So, and that stopped them from coming in the hole if they want because they only got Klay Thomas and Curry gonna be shooting threes. The other guy they got from Milwaukee, Wiggins? I mean, I'm not too much worried about that guy. He's having a good year, but I'm not really worried about that guy. If they all in, why not? Just go ahead and wait for. I think DeAndre Jordan want to stay in LA because that's where he's from. Actually, that's why I'm more like ain't really talked about him too much. But if he get brought out, what a better way to stick it to.
He wants to stay with that dysfunction in LA and be a part of the drama and the high life, nightlife, whatever. I wouldn't mind. Be honest with you. I wouldn't mind Anthony Davis coming out saying, listen, I'm sick of the BS here in LA. I like what the Bulls are doing. Put a package together, and I'll come play with the Bulls. And then it answer all our prayers. A defender, a down low guy, a rebounder. I'm good. He puts on that starting four with Vucevic. I'm with it.
I just can't do what that guy don't.
Said you mentioned all Golden State does is shoot threes. That reminds me, shout out to Stan Van Gundy for his observation and noticing or mentioning the Bulls are last in 3-point field goals taken, but first in 3-point field goals made. And he capped it off by saying shot efficiency matters. And that's why we're the number one seed in the East. That's shout out to him, man. That's a huge because the evolution of the game. We're praising these 3-point shooters, and the game can still be won in the trenches, with high percentage shots. So I just wanted to put that out there. Shout out to Stan Van Gundy for that.
And that was good. I mean, that was good that he did that because at the end of the day, man, we gonna still need those bangers, and I think that just makes, if you add those two people, that makes the Rosen just that much better. Exactly, being that much better that they don't have to worry about doing nothing but score. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully we hear something because I look at the Twitter every hour and see, did we get him? Did we get him? Did he sign him?
Hey, y'all! I'm telling y'all, I know you're about to bring up the next segment real quick, but if the Knicks hold on to win this game, which they came all the way down from like 16, 17 points, and they're about 3 with 18 seconds to go, we know what ESPN is going to be talking about all day tomorrow. how Boston blew another game. They're not going to get the Knicks any credit. They're not going to get the Knicks any credit, man. This is going to be all over ESPN First Take. How Boston blew another one, and I'm over it, man.
And this is, and before we go to the next segment, and this is the reason I say DeMarcus Cousins will fit perfect with the Bulls, because everybody on the Bulls got a chip on their shoulder. Every last one of them. I can't name not one that doesn't. From 1 through 12, 1 to 15, everybody has that on their shoulder. Ball, he can't play, he can't shoot, he can't do this. Zach, he only shoot, he only score. Right, you know what I'm saying? Boots, he only scored because he was with Orlando Magic, a bomb team. You know what I'm saying? Ayo got drafted second round. You know what I'm saying? Alex Caruso, Lakers didn't give him money. Lakers didn't give him his money.
I think if you get both of those guys, I think the guy that it helps out the most is Vujacic. I think because if you can start one of those guys at the 4, they're going to body up the Embiids and they're going to body up the Giannis's, and that leaves another team playing a guy on Vujacic who can't guard him down low, and he's just going to be open for jump shots and open to post up, because now you're worrying about a guy like a DeMarcus Cousins who can shoot from outside just as well as anybody else. And I think that would help the big man out, where he may increase now what he's capable of doing, and it makes teams look like, damn, now it's single coverage on Levine, single coverage on DeRozan, single coverage on Vujacic, because now you're worrying about another guy that can come in and score. And again, you don't get rid of Kobe White, who can come in and get you points off the bench, and a Patrick Williams who can come in and do what he needs to do. Now I think it makes them that more dangerous.
Right, because even if Patrick Williams was to come back, you don't have to stick him in there as soon. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You can bring him along gradually.
Right. And when you brought up what's the guy from Atlanta, Cam
Reddish?
Cam Reddish. I like him, but I prefer to keep Derrick Jones Jr. because he don't demand the ball. You know what I'm saying? And only thing about him, it's like he get hurt on every play. It's like he's grimacing about something. He's just a thin guy. He's like grimacing every time.
He can that 3-point shot down, though. I like that about him.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. He hit those shots. You like, man, he hit that. He can hit those. And I like that. That's what I think if Kobe White was to get traded, you got to give me something. But it's nothing that you could give me that is going to really make me not want Kobe White. And it's kind of hard for me to even say, because in the beginning of the year, when Kobe came back, I was like, man, they got to get rid of this dude. You know what I'm saying? Right. But now, change of heart. He's filling it up,
Definitely.
We're going to get to, let's see. Because we still on this. Because like I said, I don't think we'd be happy. I don't think we would be talking if the Bulls was in that 6 or the play-in game, we wouldn't be talking about trade either of these guys. Me personally, I don't think we would. We'll be just saying we need to pick up a buyout. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, like I said, they playing good. We play them out. They play Washington. Hopefully, we keep the winning streak going. I want to see it hit 10. And if they hit 10, then I want to see what the national.
They're still not. They're not. If we beat Brooklyn twice, Denver twice, New York twice, it was another good team that we beat twice. Hawks, all playoff teams, and we're still not getting. And we got a guy who we got 2 MVP candidates. There's nothing they're going to do to put us.
They won't say nothing until what'll happen is, let's say hypothetically speaking, we go in, we beat the Nets, and then we go play Golden State, and say we barely lose that game. It's going to be how good Golden State is, and the Bulls are still not there. But lo and behold, we beat them and continue on this winning streak. They'll throw a little tidbit on First Take in the morning, and Stephen A. Smith will be like, "Well, the Bulls beat the Curry last night, and okay," and that's it, and it's all we'll hear. We'll be like, well, thanks. We appreciate that over here.
Sure. Maybe they'll talk about what's going on. Well, maybe Clay isn't fully all the way back. Steph is in a shooting slump because he's. That's actually what they're saying now. Because his last 4 games, he's shooting literally 29%. 29. I did the numbers.
Yeah, you put it up there. That's all right.
Yeah, he's been awful. But now they're saying, oh, he's still the greatest shooter of the time. Everybody's allowed a slump. Right. Well, okay, because we know that MVP voting is a week-to-week thing, and it's or game-to-game thing. Okay, now he's had a horrible last week. So now let's pump up the next guy who is actually who's the toughest player of the week. Let's give him his accolades. Let's not make up for Steph Curry. He's been bad. He's not number one. He's not number two in the running, not in my opinion. Let's talk about DeMar DeRozan. Let's talk about the guy who hit 2 game-winning shots in back-to-back days for the first time in league history. Let's talk about the guy who is on the verge of giving the Bulls a 26-win differential from last year. Talking about from 31 to being on pace to win 57 games this year. Let's not be Steph Curry apologists. Let's talk about the guys who are actually doing it, who was the supposed worst signing of all season. Let's talk about that. But see, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, and when I go into the sports groups and I say these things, it's laughed at. Man, you come on, man.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, when I was home yesterday, the talk was nothing about DeMar DeRozan, nothing about Levine. It was, well, can LeBron be the MVP again? Can LeBron bring his team back? I'm done hearing about the Lakers. They suck, period. Done. Get over with it. They're not going to turn it around until they blow that team up and get rid of the Westbrooks and whoever else. But they thought trading Rajon Rondo would help them out. No, it's going to make you that much worse because Rondo was the only guy that actually pushed you to be better.
Right.
But let's talk about LeBron and how he dropped 30 and he's now after 36 years old, he's tied with Jordan and then stuff. No, DeMar DeRozan has gone in and Levine have gone in and night out and put this team on their back and have brought this team to where they're at now, sitting 2 games ahead of people, number 1 in the Eastern Conference. But we're not talking about that. We're not going to
talk about it, Tim. LeBron has won 3 straight games.
So he's won 3 straight games. Wow. You know what I mean? But hell with the 8-game winning streak that the Bulls are on right now. Let's talk about the 3 games that LeBron has won for the Lakers, and let's talk about the Steph Curry, how he's shooting 29.9% right now. Klay Thompson is coming back. Kyrie Irving showed up last night and got 22 points in his thing. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that, but let's not give any love to the Bulls and what they're doing right now, under the radar, not caring about what people are saying about them, and just playing basketball. But we can't have that drama in Chicago. So,
but and this because they got tough games next week. They play the Golden State, I think, and Brooklyn, I think, next week.
Yep.
And that's why I hopefully they could pull it and get Cousin. I would love to see Cousin play when they go against those guys. That's going to be a stamp. If they beat Brooklyn again, that's when I think they probably will get their talk about.
But did you hear what you just said though? We have to sweep a team,
right?
To get accolades. We have to. Never mind that we beat them twice already. We beat the Lakers twice already. We beat every playoff. We had 25 wins total. 14 of them are against playoff teams. You see how ridiculous what you just said sounds? You know what I mean? We have to actually sweep a team to get talked about.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But like you said, even if we beat Brooklyn, they'll try to find a way how Kyrie is not really there yet. You know,
he's not healthy. It's his 4th game back. He's still got to get into it. But here's the thing that's going to be is what people don't recognize is when that game comes around. I think it's Wednesday or something like that. The game is.
I think so.
Yeah. The Brooklyn Nets are going to have a full team out of protocol. They're going to have the Blake Griffins, the Durants, the Hardens, the Irvings, what's his name, the Marcus Aldridge, all those guys. And if the Bulls go in there and they deliver an ass whooping, we're still not going to get the credit because, like you said, Kyrie's 4th game back. Durant had a sniffle. Harden couldn't play defense. LaMarcus Aldridge had a bad shooting night. And then Golden State's going to come in with Klay Thompson, fully healthy, whatnot. Bulls beat the dog crap out of them, and it's going to be, well, Curry was, he has bad shooting finger, and Klay, he's getting his feet under him, and Draymond Green ran into Dennis Rodman in the hallway and got scared, and that's what they're going to talk about. You know what I mean? And it's going to be nothing about the Bulls going out there and dropping ass whoopings and saying, listen, we're here to be reckoned with. And we're not going to get love at all this year until we get to the playoffs. and we get into the championship game and we're holding up that trophy at the end, that's when ESPN is going to be like, well, the Bulls had a great season. We've been following them all year long. Get out of here. You know what?
Right. But, I mean, we'll find out what happens. Like I said, I hope that, you know, tomorrow, what they play tomorrow. And this was the two things I'm waiting on, hopefully. Hopefully they sign Cousin before the week is out. And hopefully they keep this winning streak going at least to 10. I want to see it go to 10. But they keep the winning streak going as long as they can. I mean, forget 10. But let's be realistic, because once they lose, we got to start it all over again. I don't want them to lose against those teams that we just mentioned, honestly.
No, yeah. And you know what? And if they lose, you know, and they don't get to the 10-game winning streak, I'm happy and very content with this 8-game winning streak, because they've put themselves on the map and they're still they're still the number one team in the East.
Yeah.
We still got two guys vying for MVP, and we're playing basketball. That's the main point. Is like, again, as we talked about earlier, look at, you know, DeMar Rosen go with Io today to see his jersey retired. Zach LaVine going down to watch the guys in the G League. You know what I mean? That shows leadership. And like me and Marcus talked about earlier, you don't hear about and you don't see other guys doing that. Maybe LeBron will go catch, you know, someone's game or son's game, or watch someone else's son. You know, Giannis, you'll see him show up and watch something for one of his teammates, but you don't see the other guys doing that stuff, man. And that's to me, seeing what those two guys are doing speaks how much this team means to them and how much they've gelled, and how people talked about, I just don't see them gelling right away. Yeah. No, they're gelling perfectly fine right now.
And before we get off the subject, because we gonna go into the last segment, and I'm gonna let Marcus introduce that, because it was good. It was a good one. It was a good one. It's not sports related, but I think we want to end up with something real good. I just don't think, before we wrap this up, we'll wrap it up with this. I just don't think Patrick Graham would be going anywhere, because during the playoff last year in the finals, Billy Donovan had took him to the game in Milwaukee, showing them, just giving him the feel of it. And I just can't see them just saying, okay, well, we took him, well, let's still get rid of him. They got big plans for this guy, so I don't think he's going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, and if they wanted to make a move, they would have been made the move with one of them. I think they're going to give these guys a shot at this whole thing before they actually start dispersing things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And hopefully they do.
Patrick Williams is a lump of raw clay. He's not on anybody's hot seat. There's no time frame. The team is winning. Winning buys you time. It cures everything. They don't want him to go anywhere, and he becomes freaking Kawhi Leonard. They're not. I would personally not even bring Patrick Williams into any trade equations. That's just me. I had hoped that we got a chance to talk about some of this all-star stuff, because like you mentioned earlier, like, how in the world is Klay Thompson even getting votes? How is Kyrie Irving even getting votes? And I said it. I said this maybe a week ago. I said there's no way in the world Zach LaVine is going to start, even though he is very deserving. They're going to find a way to get Trae Young and Harden. I said these things. They're going to get Harden and Trae Young in there, even though they're leading in fan voting. But that is so antiquated and so flawed. You got, ever since the internet, you got kids on there just voting. They don't have a clue as to what. And to me, forget all the numbers. For me, the most profound thing that you could say about LaVine and DeRozan, let's just take DeRozan. Two things. One is the win differential, going from 31 wins to being on pace to win 57. And then he is the Chicago Bulls in the fourth quarter. He has owned it. He has absolutely owned it. And Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is like third or fourth in fourth quarter scoring, and he doesn't shy away as well. He wants to take the last shot. He's proven it. He's done it again, like the Charlotte game a couple of years back. So those are elements single-handedly that should have these guys as 1 and 2 in the All-Star game amongst your guards. And it's to even have, and I know Trae Young is, to me, these are empty stats. I think he's stat chasing. He doesn't, and it's for me. It's just for me. Other people may see it differently. He doesn't impact winning. Yeah, I know they went to the conference finals last year, but his team played better. But is he dragging his team now like a DeMar DeRozan or a Zach LaVine? Is he put him on his shoulders? He got the 56 and 19 the other game, but in a loss. How is that deserving? Isn't this about winning, or is it about Westbrooking? It's about getting stats. What is this really about? So it's a kind of a flawed system. I just wanted to throw that out there about this voting, man. I mean, let's get Zach in that to start, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the MVP is supposed to be. Most valuable player to your team. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
I still think that Levine can start, because you got to remember now what they do in the All-Star game is that they pick 2 captains, and then they let those 2 guys pick their starting 5, and then the bench is, picked, I think, throughout whatever. But
are they doing that?
So the fan vote plus coaches and team. I thought the NBA players and coaches, do they just pick the reserves and the fans?
So basically, the fans pick whoever the 2 top vote getters are in any position are the 2 captains, and those guys pick. I believe how they did it last year is they picked their starting 5, and then they picked their bench players, and then the last 2 guys that were picked on the bench was from the fans voting between 3 people, and 2 out of the 3, I believe, got in, whoever the leading vote getters at the time. So it's a possibility, because I think DeMar DeRozan is actually leading in some of the votes. So he could be he could be a captain, and they could be like, well, he might be like, hey, give me Zach right away because we're working so well together, and Zach could start. But that's what they've done in the past 3 years with the All-Star game is they pick the two vote leaders, and those guys go ahead and pick their team. They pick
Durant, I think it's even among guards, DeRozan. But hey, maybe we'll have the whole coaching staff there if we have the best record. So that's a bonus.
I think Durant had the most votes, so I think he'll be the one picking the team.
Right. So it'd be Durant, and more than likely it's probably going to be LeBron. You know what I mean? But even still. Yeah, but even then, that ain't not even guaranteed. Like, I would love to see DeRozan get it to be the captains, because we know that how it's going to go is, LeBron's going to pick AD or staff, and KD's going to pick Kyrie and fucking so-and-so. And those guys are going to get shunned and not be able to show what their talents are. And I think that's the bad part about it. I think you got to pick 2 other guys this year to let them be the captains, because I'm sick of the LeBron and the Durant and all that other crap. Give it 2 guys who've been deserving to let them pick their all-star team, because maybe the first time you don't see a LeBron starting or a KD starting. These guys may pick something different to say, hey, let's show it to the crowd. Let's do something for the people.
So the game is over. What you was watching, Mark?
Yeah, New York pulled it off, man. So expect to hear all about how Boston collapsed, not about what New York did. Hear about the Boston collapse.
Is Rose back, or he's still out?
He's still out.
Okay.
Rose is still out.
Okay, this last segment, we got a few minutes right now. I want Marcus, you had posted something up in the group. It wasn't in the sports group, it was in your movie group. And give us a rundown on that.
Man, wait, I got the whole thing to myself? Wow.
Yes,
The man made the movie show. Tracy and Marcus at the movies. No, I posted in the movie group, man. So you guys drop your comment, and I want to hear what you guys weigh in on this. It's a 2-part question. And these are pretty much cult phenom movies. 2 movies that I grew up watching. It's a movie question, 2-part movie question. Drop your responses down there. The first part of the question is, of the 2 movies, Friday and House Party, which is your favorite? That's the first part. And separate from that is, which one has a higher replay value, or which one do you watch the most? Because that's separate. For instance, I think The Godfather is a better movie than Money Talks, but I watch Money Talks much more because it's a shorter movie. So replay value, which one of the 2 do you watch the most, and which movie is your favorite movie? These are cult phenoms, cult classics. And what I mean by cult classics is that everybody loves these movies. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you come out from commercial, you turn the TV on, and this movie is on, you're going to stop and finish it. That's just how it's just something that needs to be on the TV, the ambience of the room. You keep it on. So what's your favorite movie of the 2, and which of the 2 has the higher replay value, Friday or House Party? Drop your answers down there, and you guys let me know what you think.
Go ahead, Tim.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with my favorite is House Party. The House Party movies. I loved watching those growing up. Watching them all with Kid and Play, and Martin being a part of it, and Gina, and like Tisha Campbell. And growing up watching that, and then when they put, they got Marcus Houston and all them in it.
House Party 3.
Those were great movies because my favorite line, one of my favorite lines was I forget dude's name, but the dude with the black hat. He's like, "What's that I smell?" I love it. They were so great in that movie. But I think the second part of the question is what I watched the most is probably Friday because Friday is always on. It's like the new thing, and it's just like watching Ice Cube do his thing, and then watching Pops. May he rest in peace. With him making the movies with his lines and his Mr. Policeman, please let me over. Like Stanley, get the hell out of there. It's so hilarious. And I think that growing up, I'm going with House Party. I loved House Party, and then what I watch more nowadays is going to be the Friday movies because they're just so hilarious.
Pops was in both movies, right? Remember, he was in the window, Public Enemy.
Yep.
Got the cops.
Yeah, he was.
And he just, when he was in that window, he was ad-libbing. Nobody told him. They didn't write that and say, I want you to say this. No, he just came off the dome with that, man.
Right.
Hilarious.
In the group, I had said Friday for both because Friday was in rotation. I could watch that like every other day. So I could watch it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday if it came on like that. Because at the time it came out, it was the hottest thing going on, the funniest thing going on, because it was a low budget, but it was so funny. All the scenes was pretty much funny. Like I said, House Party was funny, but it wasn't funny. You know what I'm saying? It don't have a House Party didn't have one of those. It had a few of those classic scenes,
quotable lines.
Right, exactly. But Friday had a lot of those. and DJ Pooh, just his little part being red was funny. You know what I'm saying? The characters in there was fun. That was a good question. That's why I wanted to bring it on this show because it was a good
up a little bit.
Hey, I had to go to House Party because there were so many multiple nights I snuck out to go to parties and stuff, and I remember taking my little brother with me and sneaking out of my parents' house and going over to my buddy's house, and we break out the cardboard and break dance and do all that crazy stuff, and trying to emulate the House Party moves with Kid and Play. That's why I take those movies because it was just a part of my childhood of being told, going to school and getting in trouble at school and being told by your mom and dad or your dad, hey, you can't go to that party. You can't go do that. As soon as they went to sleep, I was out that door. And then, getting in trouble and worried about all that stuff. And, that's why I chose that because that's just a big part of my childhood growing up.
I like your choice. I think I will revise mine and go there. In heavy rotation, it would be Friday. But to me, House Party is that one because it showed you something different because a lot of stuff was going on at that time. Like the NWA was like the hardest thing going on, blah, blah, blah. They actually took it back. Okay, it's other things going on in the hood other than hood stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they took it like you can also have fun with your friends. You know what I'm saying? Have a house party and stuff like that. So
and that's why I'm going to piggyback off your answer, Sid. I'm going to go a House Party as the favorite of the two because it was the more important movie. It came out in 1989, so it was the end of a decade with all that NWA stuff,
right?
And it actually ushered into the 90s, and it was important. It was like, okay, House Party is okay. We're getting away from the gangster rap. Now we're about to let's just dance. We're going into this part of the New Jack, swing and let's dance and let's have fun. So it was pivotal. That's the word I'm looking for. It was pivotal going from one part of the decade to another. As to where Friday is more quotable. So that's going to get the higher replay value. I mean, Friday. I mean, that was what's not to like about Friday. It probably cost me $11 to make. Hey, let's get a camera and let's just say this. And it was right. House Party was a comedy, but it was more of a musical if you think about it. It was more of a musical thing, dancing and singing. And everybody, it had the projects in it. It had a family that had a job. Gina's parents, Tisha, what was her name? Not Shireen. I can't even remember Gina's name anymore.
Oh my God.
I mean, it just had everything in it. It was a fun movie. While Friday was funnier.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So yeah,
right. And I think with that with the House Party, people won't say it, but for me, House Party got me into like the hip hop with the Tribe Called Quest type of thing, that you could have fun, make fun music.
Those guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Tribe Called Quest, the Jungle Brothers type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't all about guns or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you said 89. That's what Tribe and them came out. So it gave another avenue to hip hop. You know?
Yeah.
So that was good. That was a good question. I think what we should do to end off these full clip is bring up something like that to give it a little swing to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, Tim, you got the next question then. The next
Okay.
one. The next show.
All right, I'll come up with one.
I got one already in mind, but we'll save it though. So once again, this is CedItUp Production with Full Clip with my boy Marcus Anderson and my boy Tim. Man, we'll be back. This today Thursday. We're gonna try to keep it consistent on Tuesdays and Thursdays, man. If something was to pop off, like Cousins sign tomorrow, we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Yep.
All right, you guys take it easy, man.
All right, gentlemen.